Welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy and
Greg.
well, thank you.
Sure.
And it's the Hump Day Happy Hour salute and welcome in everybody. We have a guest today. Unfortunately, Mr. Magazine is not able to make it tonight. He had a family situation, so he's not able to make it tonight. Thoughts and prayers to him, of course. We are honored to have from Flower City Estate Sale, Greg, as he so concisely said there a little bit earlier.
You caught me off guard there, Dave. I'm not going to lie.
And welcome in Super Cedar Lights, and thank you for being a member. And Fossil Ford Finds Triple F, thank you for being a member. The show's going to be done a little differently tonight. We're going to fly through the parts that we usually do, and then we're going to have a lot of time to ask a lot of great in-depth questions about estate sales. So we'll get started. Hello, Antiquarian. As far as sales go, Mr. Magazine said he's doing fairly well for the season, and I cannot complain, although today's a little bit slow. Do you sell anywhere other than the estate sales, Greg?
Occasionally I'll sell a little bit on eBay for my clients, but not too
for
much.
The clients. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what would I guess what would precipitate that as opposed to selling it elsewhere or like at the sale?
It's got to be a high-end item that I know that I won't, gain the monetary value of it at an estate sale.
Oh, okay.
These days, it's very few and far between.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know you offered that. I'm learning new stuff. That's why I had you on, so I can learn all this stuff. Welcome, Dave's Odds and Ends. Thank you for being a member. Welcome, John, our newest member. Thank you for being a member. Here we go. Postcard sales are slowing down the last couple of days, but I sold a new old stock Marvel comic Punisher enamel pin for $43. There you go. You got to go to Greg's sales. He has those for $5 every time, I think, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much every single time. And hello, Don. Thank you for being a member. And Schmidt Auctions. How are you doing there? And Adrian, good evening. And thank you for being a member. Doing a little roll call here, and then we'll get a little further in. Sales have been very solid for Michael. Good to hear. Thank you for being a member. As far as buys, Mr. Magazine has not been buying anything, and he and I really didn't buy anything over the last 2 weeks except 7,500 magazines from Mr. Buys a Lot, who drove them up from South Carolina. He'll be on our show in January. But other than those 7,500 magazines, I didn't buy anything. So I'm doing good, right, Greg?
That's pretty good for you. Yeah, definitely.
Other than that little thing, I didn't buy anything whatsoever. So that's good. Promoted last week, 31 out of 65. So running about 50%. What we always do is, I don't know how familiar you are with eBay, Greg, but they have the promoted where you can pay extra.
Yes.
And so roughly 40 to 60% of my sales every single week are things that I paid extra on.
Really? Okay.
Yep. So I try to keep track of that to see whether I think it's working or not. So 40 to 60% every week are.
Have you found it's worth it to promote your listings?
Yeah, most of the stuff's only at 2% though, so it's not a lot of extra.
All right.
Yep. So, there you go. John Doe is hitting an estate sale this weekend, so he's going to be giving you lots and lots of questions on how to get the best deal.
Definitely.
Whoa, John broke $100,000 yearly gross over the weekend. Nice. Good weekend. Yeah, that's all exactly Fossil Forward. That's all I bought. Only one deal. I can tell Mrs. Papergoy, I only bought one deal. But Greg, why don't you tell them the little secret how I keep Mrs. Papergoy happy when I go to one of your sales and buy a lot of stuff?
High-end purses.
Absolutely.
She is a connoisseur of high-end purses.
Absolutely. And Greg sees her coming in and he's checking his inventory going, okay. And then he knows if he can sell her one of those, he can sell me a bunch of stuff too. And everybody is happy. Works out well for all of us. 103 older offers last week, 274 offers. That's offers to watchers that I was able to make.
Okay.
Last week was 282. So basically the same, despite being out of town for the weekend. Last year was 139, so I've got about twice as many offers I can make as a year ago, 156 2 years ago. And I sold 2 items over on million-dollar.peddlers, which is another eBay site that I have.
Okay.
1 item over on Vivs-Views, but you're going to love this. It was an Abe Lincoln Abraham Lincoln, Norman Rockwell postcard. Actually, I got that from you in that big postcard deal.
Oh, love that.
I had a lot of 3 of them. I tried to sell them for $3 for the lot of 3 over on Whatnot. Nobody wanted to buy them. I listed them over on eBay, sold all 3 of them at $10 a piece. So, hey, whatever. Trying to give free money away. Nobody wanted it. I sold 7 items on Etsy, and I sold 1 item on papergoy.com. Welcome, Radio Partisan Mike. How are you doing? Happy holidays to you as well. And hello, Jeff. Great to have you aboard. Couple of other little things over here. Glitch of the week. A lot of people had a big eBay label error. I don't know if you heard about this one or not, Greg. Thursday morning, it was printing everything out hazardous.
Really?
Everything was being printed out with the hazardous label on it. eBay did say that if you shipped it out with the hazardous label on it, they would not penalize you if the item got there late, because it takes extra handling.
Yeah.
So it was a known eBay problem, and they were saying, well, reprint the labels, but if you've already shipped it.
Yeah.
You know,
do they charge more to ship hazardous items?
No, no extra charge whatsoever. Nope. But it has to go ground the entire way.
Sure.
Yep. So that's what's. Yep. Schmidt agrees on Whatnot. You try to give people free money, and they don't always want it. A couple of other little things over here. Whatnot is now making us handle customer service. So they used to keep that all out of our hands. They're going to be handling it themselves. Have you done anything on Whatnot ever?
No, I just heard about it fairly recently, actually. I'm not too familiar with it. I've checked it out once or twice, but I use eBay sold for my business when I'm doing research on items. I use eBay sold comps, and I belong to WorthPoint as well.
Okay.
And then there's a couple art sites I use, but not really Whatnot.
Well, now Whatnot, you get about 40% of the eBay price. The advantage is that it sells very, very fast. Well, I'm going to tell you what you're going to have happen to you at some point then, Greg, because this has happened to other people. Happens a lot at flea markets and things like that. You'll have me. Now, I'm not industrious enough to do this, but we'll just use me as an example. I go on Whatnot. I start the camera going. I start walking around your sale, and I say, anybody want anything? And they say they want something. And I go, oh, it's priced at 30. All right, we're going to start this auction at 50. And I sell everything in there before I hit the.
People have done that at my sales. I did not realize that was what the platform they were using to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one lady that walks around, buys a lot of pottery and porcelain.
Yeah,
and she's literally live on the screen walking around, doing the same thing you just described. So, and
you as a estate sale person, you have no problem with that?
Nope. If she buys it, I'm happy. So, we set the prices, and then, the second day we go half off on items. If it's a 3-day sale, it'll be full price the first day, usually 25% off, or full price the second day, and then last day is 50% off. I'm pretty reasonable. If somebody's doing that, I'm not going to charge them more just because they're using technology to their advantage.
Right. And I guess it's a guaranteed sale, and you were asking $10. What do you care? You're getting $10.
Exactly.
And obviously, I want to let you in on a little bit of a secret, Craig. You may not have known this. I make money. I buy off from you. Just in case you didn't know that.
We're not friends anymore, Dave.
I ruined it all.
I'm going to click myself off this conversation right now. No, the majority of my not the majority, I'd say 50% of my buyers are resellers. And I know you guys have to make money. I tell my clients that when I meet with them the first time.
Yeah.
So they're aware that I'm not going to get showroom or antique mall prices for things.
Well, let me ask you this, because I was going to ask you this a little bit later, but because the conversation's kind of taken us there.
Yeah.
You've got behind you, I see, I don't know who that is. The guy with the hat on the far, whatever side. Yep.
This guy, that's Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say that Bob Dylan were worth $100.
Okay.
Let's just say. And you are pricing it up here at the estate sale.
Yeah.
What are you pricing that at day one?
So if he's worth $100, anywhere from 50 to 75, depending on, there's a lot that factors into it. And sometimes the family will make me price something $100.
Yeah.
But if they do that, I usually tell them, well, be prepared for it to sell the second day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Neighborhood, the other items in the house, is it a higher end sale? Is it kind of a loaded sale where I need to get rid of stuff quickly?
Oh,
Um,
okay.
there's a lot that factors into how we price at each individual sale.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Now, how long does it take you to set up a typical sale?
So my team, and I have the best team in the business. I really believe that. They're knowledgeable, they're quick. So we can usually do a normal sale. And by normal sale, I mean a regular household
Mhm.
within 2 days, setup and
Wow.
price. If it's a packed house, maybe 3 or 4 days. And then if there's a lot of tiny items, it takes more time. It's more tedious to price everything and display it all. If there's a lot of jewelry or coins, that might take a little bit longer. But I would say average 2 to 3 days.
Okay. Nice. And what is your lead time? In other words, if I called you, leave out the holidays because obviously
Okay.
this time of
Yeah.
thing is different, and leave out me having a need. Hey,
Okay.
you got to get this done by the end of the month because I got to be out of here. Leave all that out of there. I just say to you, hey, I got a lot of stuff, and you come on out. Are you talking a week, a month, 3 months?
For me to come out and meet with you, I try to do that as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Usually within a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
To hold a sale for you, it's probably right now I am booking into pretty much March.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I have sales already scheduled in April this year in 2025. I always try to leave a couple spots open. Like I may have one spot open in early February right now, but that's going to be reserved for a very high end sale.
Right.
I try not to book myself too much, just to leave those last minute people that are like, hey, I need it done within a month. Trust me, this is going to be worth it for you. I never agree to anything over the phone. I always have to go in
Right.
person and see,
Obviously. Yeah.
obviously.
Wait, you mean when everybody calls me and says, I've got these comics and they're all mint condition and they were in plastic from the day they were bought? And I'm like, really? Nobody put their comics in plastic in 1952, yet somehow you did, huh?
Yeah.
And then you get there and it's like, usually mint comics have their covers. I just letting you know that.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, most of the time, by the time I go into the house, the comics are long gone because they know what they have.
Right.
Or at least they think they know what they have.
Let me hit the chat here real quick. We got Local Mike. Local Mike has gone to many of your sales before. You would know him if you saw him for sure. And
Mike.
Don, hit the like button if you could. And whatnot is where 75 to 80% of inventory comes from, but I need to have multiple purchases in one show because of shipping. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely on that. All right, got a couple of other things here to talk about before we get it. I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. See, I don't work this side of the things here too much, so all screwed up there. Item of the week, and then this actually was purchased, if I can find this actually was lost somewhere on my desk. This was actually purchased at one of your rivals.
Oh, again, Dave, I'm going to click this off button in about 2 seconds.
Pushing all the wrong buttons here. This is a piece of handcrafted scrimshaw that I bought at a sale. $5 item was what I paid for it. Come to find out, you can't sell this online.
You cannot.
And so that's the question that I wanted to lead in. That's why I wanted to show this up over here. I have made the mistake in the past. I have purchased cigarettes as well at a sale. And I have that, and I have this sitting up where I can see them daily to remind me to stay in my lane.
Yeah.
Because I know paper, and there are a few items of paper that you cannot sell. Some of the Black Americana is difficult to sell online. Mein Kampf is difficult to sell online. You've got these few items that are difficult to sell online. I know what they are. Yeah. I bought the cigarettes. I bought this. If I were able to sell this, it would be good.
Yes.
So my question for you is, how do you handle that? How do you know that? Because of course, one of the big things, of course, is alcohol. You see that all the time. And I've seen various ways that people will try to sell it. You're buying the bottle as a collectible. If it has something inside, we don't know anything about it.
So I've heard certain things like that. They're selling the bottle, cash donations for family.
Yeah. Yep. I've seen that too. Yep.
That's one way to do it. For like scrimshaw, ivory, Black Americana, like you said, Mein Kampf, stuff like that in that vein. I do have a lot of private buyers for that stuff. I
Okay.
don't personally like advertising it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just where, like we talked about before, Dave, I'm a family business.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna profit off of that type of stuff. So usually I will
Put
um,
them in touch with this, put
put
the
them
house
in
in touch.
touch
And,
with
yep.
private
Right.
buyers that have given me their info in the
Yeah.
past, and I'll let the family deal with it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I was kind of wondering about that because the other thing too is I have to know the rules on the sites I sell on eBay, Amazon, whatnot. You know, you have to know more than that because obviously there may be some federal or maybe some state or
Yep.
there may be some that, I don't even think about. Is, oh, I can't list that on eBay. And I don't think twice about why I can't do so.
Taxidermy is a good
Oh, really?
example. So I had I didn't have it. Somebody contacted me
Yeah.
about it was a gorgeous white tiger mount.
Right.
I mean, this thing was stunning,
Right.
but legally you cannot sell a white tiger mount or a white tiger. There was a cheetah pelt in this house as well. Legally, you cannot sell that stuff.
Wow.
So
See, and I would have had no idea whatsoever on that.
yeah, deer mounts, you can sell those all day. Bear head mounts, you can sell those. Bear rugs, sell
Yeah.
those. But anything on the endangered list, you cannot sell, even
Wow.
with paperwork. So ivory is tricky because ivory, if you have paperwork showing that it was imported, but I forgot the date off the top of my head, but if you have a sales receipt from Asia from 1945 that shows you bought this ivory puzzle ball and stand in Asia in 1945 and brought it back yourself, there are ways to get around that, selling
Right.
that. But most of that stuff you can't prove because nobody saved the paperwork with it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I didn't know any of that. Schmidt auctions avoid scrimshaw like the plague, that and bird feathers.
Yeah, bird feathers are tough unless they're like turkey tails or something like that. Bird feathers are tough.
Wow, I'm glad we're talking here. There's a whole. I guess I'm not going to go in a competition with you. You just knocked me out of the box for being in competition. I had to change postcard titles today because the word trombone has bone in the name, so it wouldn't list the postcard.
Really?
Oh, bone is in
Jarts.
ivory bone and all that. Oh, wow, that's
I see the comment about jarts. I have sold them at sales in the past. And there's always a couple people that complain that I can't sell them, so I stopped selling them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I have private buyers for those that they want them for themselves. So
Yeah.
I have a Rolodex of people that are looking for certain things. But you can't list jarts on. I've seen them listed on Facebook Marketplace, and people get ripped apart for putting them on there. You can't list them on eBay. I know that, and
Right.
Craigslist I don't think allows it either.
Right. Yeah. What a great idea. Let's throw this piece of metal through the air.
Listen, I played with them when I was a kid and I made it.
I did too, but that explains a lot. Insulting offer of the week. Mr. Magazine had a Unix review magazine. He was asking $22.54 on. He got a $1 offer. And that kind of ties us in. I've actually been at a few of your sales before, and you're an extremely easygoing guy.
Yeah.
I've actually seen you once or twice. I wouldn't say lose your temper because you didn't lose your temper, but you got a little something in your voice once or twice with a couple of offers that I've heard people give you. And you were like, I remember one time you're like, ma'am, I cannot sell it for this. I have a duty to the family.
But that's like the third or fourth time they've asked me, Dave.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you said, I keep a very, calm temper.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if people keep needling me and I've already told them once or twice, just stop asking. Don't, and then I will, have to get a little stern with them and say, listen, I can't do it. The family won't let me. Or
right.
I'm not comfortable selling it for that low. If I know if it doesn't sell, the family can take it elsewhere and get more for it.
So you're telling me you've got that Bob Dylan there for $100. The sale opened 5 minutes ago, and I'm offering you $5. You're not taking it. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Absolutely not. No.
Wow.
If you're here's a tip for people.
Okay.
If you're one of the first people in the door at an estate sale, plan to pay full price. Don't ask for a deal. If it's towards the end of the first day and the item you want is still sitting there, ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. Don't offer less than you're going to be paying first thing in the morning for it if it's 50% off tomorrow. But we set up a system where you can leave bids. So you can either leave a bid for over half price, and if it's still there, we'll call you at the end of the day. Take payment over the phone. We do set a limit. It's got to be an item that's at least $100.
Okay.
I'm not going to call you for a $3 item to take payment over the phone for that.
You're not selling like keychain for $2?
No, I will not. You'd be surprised. And don't offer me 25% of items and expect a call back after the first day. That's kind of a late second day thing, or it may be something I need to run past the family before I can agree to it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm learning a lot as well. So you have 1,000 postcards. I want them all deal on bulk first day, or still a no?
Not if you're the first person in the door. No. But definitely ask Dave. He's bought in bulk with me, and he's very fair. If he wasn't, I probably wouldn't be on the show right now. He's very fair when he makes an offer. Don't insult the estate person.
Yep, absolutely. No, and I'm sure you have been insulted before with offers.
Many times, but I take it in stride. I'm used to it.
Right. So that's how the bid works, though. So it's after the first day you would give a call back.
Yeah. So if, like I said, Bob Dylan's $100 back there, somebody offers me $55 for it. If it's still there at the end of the first day and it's going to be $50 when we open tomorrow, I will call you at the end of the day.
Okay.
Take your payment over the phone, and you can pick it up during the second day of the sale.
That's good to know. That is very good to know. Yeah, because haven't done that before, but maybe I will now. There you go. Fair enough. There you go. Fossil Forward agrees with how you're doing that. Very good. Countdown to Brimfield, I would say moderately successful because I only made one purchase this last week. So I do want to go to Brimfield this year, Greg, but I've told myself I've got to clean up the house some in order to do so. Before I do so. I only made one purchase last week, so what could possibly go wrong?
Nice. Yeah, those 7,500 things don't take up too much room at all.
No, they were all digest size. Cornfucius joke of the week. I'm going to ask you a question. Now, Cornfucius, you've heard of Homer and Jethro, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. They actually did a comedy album called Cornfucius, where they told words of wisdom and definitions. And I'm going to ask you, Greg, what is the definition of a bigamist?
You didn't prepare me for this, Dave.
Well, that's half the fun.
What's that?
Why don't I tell you what Cornfucius says?
Perfect.
Cornfucius says, definition of a bigamist, person who makes the same mistake twice.
Love that.
That is Cornfucius. Stop by 20 past the hour at any Paperboy show, and you will get a Cornfucius joke of the day. Everyone wants something for nothing. Absolutely, Don. Absolutely. And we got Schmidt there with the corn because it is corny. Everybody loves Cornfucius, Don, except you. Get on board. Customer issues. Mr. Magazine had an item not received. The person literally all they wrote was boycott the seller. Like, that's not helpful. So we ended up ban-hammering them as far as that goes, so they can't bid on any more of his stuff. Have you ever had to eject anyone from a sale?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
We have. Yes, we've caught people stealing before.
Right.
And a couple of them were multiple offenses. I had to call the police before for people getting pushy with my staff.
Wow.
You put your hands on my staff, you're done.
Yeah. Understood. Understood.
Not acceptable. And just, we're there to have a good time. Just be nice.
Yeah. No. Have you ever had fisticuffs between customers?
We've had pushing, some rush items they want. Back when I did business, to live and try each other. Had people when other.
Oh, Greg, you're breaking all up there. I don't know if that's on your end or oops, you're breaking all up there. What was that? Yeah, you're breaking all up. Oh, looks like we lost him. If everybody can let me know if I'm still coming through good or not. He's all frozen right over there. I don't know if it's the whole show or if it's just him there. Check and let me know if I'm coming through okay right now, because obviously I wouldn't see that I'm broken up. Okay, I'm live. Okay, he just left and he'll be back then. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. I think that was on his end then. Hopefully he's able to make it back in. That was a lot of fun over there, definitely. Great guest, and if there is any problem, then we'll definitely bring him. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, we'll bring him back if, as a guest in the future, if there is another problem over there. Couple of other things going on over here. Customer issues. I had somebody ask me, hi, can you tell me if this magazine is red? Any wrinkles or thumbing on the cover? And I'm like, oh, geez. No, I'm not even a newsstand. You're going to have those problems on it, definitely on that. And yes, thank goodness. Yeah, hopefully he comes back. Hopefully he's just rechecking his connection. I'll be linking through. So I was selling a diploma, apparently somebody famous's sister in Salamanca, which I didn't know, anything at all about. The person emailed me asking about it, telling me it was an important family, and then said, honestly, this item should be in the Salamanca Historical Society. I'm like, okay, buy it and it will be. And let's see. And Greg came back in. Are you there?
Okay.
We seem to be frozen again. I don't know. It looks like this might be on your end, Greg. Yeah, you're frozen. If you want to, you've got the link still. If you want to reboot real quick or reboot your router and then come back in, and I'll vamp for a couple of minutes if that works.
Okay.
Yeah, you're all choppy. Yep. So just reboot your router and then I'll let you back in. Alrighty. Sorry about that, everybody. At least it's not my technical glitches this time. I actually did reboot my router. That was exactly what I ended up doing today. Couple of things over here. Freddie Freeman's walk-off grand slam home run ball sold for $1.56 million at auction. How crazy is that? 1.56. Oh, here we go. I've had someone reach out today on eBay because apparently the item I have listed, I bought at their estate sale. Worried they're going to ask for it back. Oh, geez. Well, all sales final. Isn't that what they say? Yep. So he's breaking up there. He's frozen, but you're okay. Great. Glitch of the week. There you go. His internet. A couple of other things going on over there. Another glitch of the week was United Airlines. We all know that I went to Nashville. Unfortunately, mysterious benefactor didn't end up renting a car because I had wanted to fly off or drive off to see Stuart and the boys over in Knoxville, but mysterious benefactor didn't have a car. So we just kind of walked around town and everything. Craziest thing though, they literally have it. It turns out it's a chain. So there's something to look for. There's one in New York City, one in Nashville, and there's two more. They're clothing thrift stores that actually have a bar in them, believe it or not. Now there's small stores. There's actually a bar in there. So I went to the thrift store and I sat at a bar and I had myself a dark and stormy. Hey, nothing could be finer than a dark and stormy and thrifting. So it was a lot of fun. I don't know if anybody else out there has ever heard of a place like that, but it was kind of cool. It was a really, really good idea. And there's like 4 or 5 of them across the country. So it might be coming to, I think it's called a garage sale, as a matter of fact. I think that might even be the name of the store. So it might be coming to your place sometime soon. Dominic Primetime Treasure Hunter family reached out for return of item a year or two ago. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. Bourbon and Bargains works for me. Hey, yeah. As soon as I saw there now, the margarita, though, that Mysterious Benefactor got was $21. I'm like, woo! Of course, I had a $12 Dark and Stormy, but he was paying, so what did I care? Good way to make use of those worthless decanters in thrift stores. There you are. Yeah, I remember that the old man's picks. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I do remember that vaguely now that you mentioned that. It's kind of crazy, though, on that. We have a Lowe's food in town. They have a beer garden in the store. You sit at the bar. Oh, wow. And that is much better. Much better. You hear me?
Me? Yes. Am I back on?
Perfect. You are
Okay.
back on. Good
Sorry
to go.
about that.
Oh, no worries. I was able to fill the time.
All right, good. Good.
I just told Confucius jokes and everybody left.
Oh, perfect.
So I was talking about Freddie Freeman's walk-off grand slam home run ball sold for $1.56 million at auction.
Wow.
From game one of the World Series. What's the most expensive item you've ever sold?
Probably some vintage cars.
Okay, right.
Oh,
right.
Actually, no, that's not true. It was a large, I forgot the footage on it, but it was a large mobile home.
Geez.
Yeah, a huge RV. We got, I think, 80,000 for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the largest single item I've ever sold.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Oh, Jeff's asking about my father. Papa Goy is doing well. I do talk to him every day, except when I was in Nashville. I did not do so. Thought he spoke too soon. Yep. And then, well, we were talking a few weeks ago, and this kind of leads into something else. I don't know if you saw this or not. I don't want to get the house wrong. It was either Christie's or Sotheby's. I'm not certain which one, but one of them two got in a little bit of trouble. And I don't know if you heard about this with New York State for sales tax.
Oh, no.
They were accepting reselling numbers, tax exempt numbers from people that they knew were not resellers.
Oh, wow.
So they were legitimate numbers, but that people were not resellers, and they ended
using someone else's number.
No, they had their own numbers. But it would be like if I went to your sale, which I'm a reseller,
yeah,
and I'm going through clothes and going, oh, good, this will fit me, and this will fit me, and this will fit me, and this will, that's all in my tax number. And except we're not talking, I'm buying $12 worth of stuff from you.
Yeah,
we're talking, I'm buying a $50,000 item, and I'm like, here's the tax number. Type deal. Now, do you have problems with people and tax numbers and all that fun stuff?
So to go off what you were just saying, there's no way for me to decipher when somebody comes up to me and says, yes, I have a tax ID number. Yeah. Well, are you using this for personal use or are you using it for resale?
Yeah.
I can't decipher that, so I have to take their word for it.
Right.
I got in trouble probably about 6 or 7 years ago, where I got audited, and every tax ID number that was not a valid tax ID number that I accepted, I had to pay sales tax for it.
Okay.
So as a business owner, when you take a tax ID number in New York State, you are supposed to run those tax ID numbers against the state website. There's a state website where you can enter the tax ID number into, and it'll pop up with the business name, the owner's name, and all that. I was not doing that. So I've learned quickly. So now what we do is, if you buy from me and you tell me you have a tax ID number, we have these little page slips you fill out with the tax ID number, business name that the tax ID number is under, and your phone number in case it's a fraudulent tax ID number and I have to call you back and collect sales tax from you.
Okay.
I have had people try to use other people's sales tax numbers, and when they give me the name of the business, I know my regulars enough where it's like, you're not a valid person to use this tax ID number. Right. I've had people give me either what they thought was a valid tax ID number, or they knew it wasn't a valid tax ID number, where I've had to call them and collect sales tax from them in the past. So yeah, I got hit pretty bad. I had to pay sales tax to the tune of about $3,500 one year, because I was not doing it properly.
Right. Right. Wow. Yeah. And to make you feel at ease, and this is 100% true, and you may not know it, but certainly your clerk knows it. When I do purchase those purses for Mrs. Papergoy,
Yeah.
I always get a separate thing on that, because
Yep.
absolutely the way I look at it is, say she's buying a $100 purse,
Yeah.
$8. I don't sell purses. Could I put it through? Sure. Nobody's going to say anything, but you get audited. They
Yeah.
take a look at my stuff and they go, Papergoy buys books, magazines. Next thing, books, magazines, purse.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What is going on here? I said, why bother? I just
Yeah.
have a separate slip made up and I pay the tax on it. And I just find that it's a lot easier. And because I certainly don't want sales tax sticking their nose into my business,
Yep.
because I wanted to save $8 on a purse.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Not worth it.
they ended up auditing my following 2 years as well. And I was doing everything by the book then, because I learned my lesson. So they've left me alone since then, but I'm still very adamant on getting that sales tax. If you want it, you give me that sales tax ID when you're buying it. You're not going to tell me, oh, I left it in the car, or can I send it to you later? No, if you don't have it right now, this is it.
Yeah, but you left it in the car. Tell you what, we have a holding area.
Yep, exactly.
You can run out to the car, no problem whatsoever.
So I see one comment on here. Most estate sales I go to, this purchase price includes the sales tax. So basically, they eat the tax. To me, I don't know how they can do that. So if that item's marked $10, how do they know that they have to pay, 80 cents or 75 cents on that $10? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm an S corporation, so I have to literally report every single sale we make and whether or not I charge sales tax on it. So I'm not sure how they include the price into the price.
If I remember my New York State tax law properly, you are allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You do have to have signs everywhere stating that that's what's happening in New York State. And then what they'll do at the end of the auction is they'll divide out, is what they'll do. Okay. And they'll say, we took $10 in, which would have been $9.22 plus the tax. And so they just divide at the back end is how they do it. But you do have to have the signs up everywhere that says that. I set up a couple of times back years ago at a flea market, and I had a sign there saying that, because again, I'm a vendor. I have a sales tax number and I'm selling stuff that I bought for a business. Yeah. What am I going to do? I don't want to be the one guy that they go through. And I've heard too many horror stories of, now that was a flea market, but I've heard too many horror stories of people setting up in other states for a show and not having the proper thing. And then the state tax department walking through and going, oh, you're not registered to collect sales tax in Pennsylvania? Yeah. Well, you got a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
And in fact, Mr. Magazine, my partner over here who didn't make it today, they set up in Massachusetts, 15, 20 years ago, probably 25 years ago, they set up for a show, got caught by the sales tax people in Massachusetts. You got to sign up, you got to do this. No problem. They had to file for like 15 years thereafter, even though they hadn't been back there. They had to file zeros for like 15 years thereafter. What a pain in the butt just for one show.
Yeah, definitely.
Just for one show.
So actually, the first 8 years of my business, I had to file sales tax quarterly.
Yeah.
This past year, we've done such a booming business that I got up to monthly. So I have to do sales tax monthly now, which is sales tax filing for it is my least favorite part of this business. It's just it's paperwork and spreadsheets and all that stuff. So now I get to do it monthly instead of quarterly.
Well, you're getting better at it.
Yeah, it must be.
And I do want to thank the subscriber who sent me the Christmas card. Definitely do appreciate that. Thank you very much on that. Did you see that you've seen the movie or know of the movie Easy Rider, correct?
Oh yeah, of course.
You remember the iconic helmet that he wore?
Yeah.
That went up for auction, no bids, $25,000, no bids. And there's no doubt at all that it was legit. Like they have it tied into the screen. They have this, they have that. The
Really?
provenance is known, and it did not sell at $25,000.
But then the ruby slippers sold for like a crazy amount recently.
38 million or something. Yeah.
How did that not get any bids? I'm surprised.
Yeah, the article I read was basically saying more or less exactly what you're saying. How did nobody bid on that? I guess what they were thinking could be the problem is, I guess there's a lot of, there are about 2 or 3 motorcycles out there that are supposed to have been the original motorcycle.
Yeah.
And so I guess there's a lot of confusion on the motorcycle. Okay. So maybe people are like, I'm going to just stay away from this. I'm going to just stay away from this.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting there. What was the strangest, dumbest local ordinance rule you had to follow that adversely affected how you ran your sale? Let me guess. Hold on, before you say anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess one of the local towns signage and some places parking.
So one of the local towns signage. I don't know how to word this properly to keep this town in,
Yeah, we know which town it is. Yeah, I know which town it is. They have certain rules. Yep.
Now it's a lot better because they have a new person in charge. So now they kind of let us do our thing. But the last one, I was only able to put like 2 signs up. One in the front yard and one on the corner of the road, even if that road was in a neighborhood. So, I mean, who's seeing those signs?
Yeah, right.
The biggest pain, I think, sometimes is HOAs. So my insurance covers the property I'm working at. Okay. It doesn't cover all the other properties in the HOAs. So a couple HOAs in town here require me to agree to, if any damage happens to any surrounding properties, I'm responsible for it. So when that happens, it means I have to have somebody outside directing traffic, making sure nobody's parking on the lawns. People, again, this goes back to what I said before. Be polite when you're going to someone else's home. Be respectful of the neighbor's properties. Don't, just because it's not your house, pardon me, just because it's not your house doesn't mean you can act like a jerk and act like you were raised in a zoo. Be respectful.
Right.
So there was one neighborhood, again, in the town that shall remain unnamed, where
town shall not be named.
It was a private drive, supposedly. There was probably maybe 20 houses on this road.
Yeah.
But the town did not own the road. So the road was owned by the homeowners there. Okay. It was a huge sale. I mean, I had thousands of people coming to this sale. It was actually the sale that the highest priced item I ever sold was at.
Yeah.
Okay. Cul-de-sac, not a huge street. It was right off of kind of a main drag that people were parking, a half a mile down the main drag as well as on the street. I had somebody out there directing traffic to make sure people were only parked on one side of the street. Afterwards, and I think it was in April, so it was really muddy and yucky outside. Afterwards, I get a bill from the landscaping company for about $2,500 to fix the lawns in the neighborhood. The HOA or the homeowners, whatever it was in this neighborhood, tried telling me I couldn't have the sale, that estate sales were not allowed there. Well, this was a state mandated estate sale. This person had to sell their items to, cover their
whatever obligations they may have had.
Exactly. So I essentially had to tell the guy, I'm sorry, this is a state. If you want to stop this sale from happening, you have to this was like a day and a half before the sale too. He's like, you have to contact the state and tell them that this sale's not allowed. Well, needless to say, he didn't. And then at the same time, they were having a memorial service at the house of one of the neighbors for a neighbor who had just passed away.
Oh my goodness.
But the guy passed away like a year ago. What are the odds that this memorial service is on the same weekend as this sale? So I got threatening calls from the HOA president telling me, you can't have the sale at all, and you need to make sure there's room for these cars to park their mourning. Well, This family that was having this, there were like 3 cars for the memorial service, and they all fit in the driveway. So he was out, but the HOA president was outside taking videos. So I was following behind him with my phone, taking a video showing how we were doing everything in, God's creation to show that we were making sure everything ran smoothly without harassing the neighbors or anything. Most of the neighbors were understanding of us that, they knew. But anyway, to go back to the landscaping bill, my lawyer said I didn't have to pay it, so I didn't pay it. That it wasn't on me that other neighbors' property got damaged, because a lot of those marks were there before we even had the sale.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, maybe a little bit of damage was done, but the plows that were coming through, they hadn't fixed up. So they were trying to bill me for the plow repair after the season. And messy situation.
That's a classic New York State trick. I'm sure you've seen the occasionally a truck will get stuck underneath an underpass or overpass.
Yep. Yeah.
They get billed, of course, for that. And New York State's trying to bill them for everything to get the whole thing up. It's like, oh, really? My truck got stuck on the north side, and somehow I scratched the south side. I don't think I did that. So it sounds like, they saw you and are like, maybe we can get everything taken care of for it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
And funny story. I actually knew the owner of the landscaping company. So
that's funny. One other real quick little update over here. Everybody will be celebrating. The Canada Post strike is over. So the mail will, but it's going to be a little while before things get caught up. I was just talking to somebody today, another reseller. He said he had to cancel a sale to Canada. It was too high of an amount to go through the eBay shipping. He went to the post office, and the post office is still not taking shipments because they want to allow everything to kind of get taken care of first before they take new things into the system. But the Canada Post strike is over. So good news on that. And I do want to give a quick thanks to Mr. Buys a Lot for only selling me 7,500 magazines. He's going to be on the show in mid-January. So definitely look forward to that as well. Here we go. If you're running a true picker sale and a customer digs out something really valuable, say 5,000 eBay sold comp value, what price are you charging to that person?
I don't hold true picker sales anymore for that reason. Exactly. I've done them before, but I've been through everything in the house to make sure that there's nothing of value. I won't do it anymore because that's, am I going to look every single item up that somebody brings up to me on the spot like that? No, it's too time consuming, and I'm going to get frustrated. The customer's going to get frustrated. But if I were to do that, I'd probably charge $2,500 to $3,000.
Yeah.
I'm there to make money for the family. I'm there to make money for you as well, but more so for my clients because they're paying me my commission. So
right. Yep. And that's you've got a tough job because I don't want to disparage you or your knowledge, but I'm hoping that having done what I'm doing in a specialty trade for 20 plus years, that I know more about a book than you do. Yeah. Hopefully. And I would hope I know more about magazines and that sort of thing than you do. And yeah. I'm sure you've got people coming in who know more about glassware, know more about silverware, know more about, so you know less than your customers do. You know more than we do overall. You know less than we do in our specific niche.
Correct.
So you are going to miss things. You just are. Yes. And so be it. When you get down to it, and the other thing comes in, you've got this pile of books and you're looking through them and you're charging $2 a book. Okay, that's a $10 book. Let it sit there because you're not going to pull every $2 book out and price it at 10. Now that's exactly. A $200 book, different story.
So we'll talk books because I know that's your specialty. If I have a large collection of books, I have a book person that I call in. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he can literally sit there and look at a bookshelf and pull out the 20 books that are worth more than $5.
Yeah. Yep.
And he will, One sale, I had one of the best book sales in the past 20 years here in the Rochester area. It was for a prominent local person. He was there for 3 days going through over 10,000 books for me. We found an extremely rare book that I sold for, I believe, $5,000. It went to auction and it only got $7,500. Books, Dave, books are tricky. Condition with books. And are they first printings? Are they, you can't even know all of that just by looking at them.
No, absolutely not.
But it's pretty, books are one of those things where you never know what you're sitting on when you walk into a house. So I always bring in my book guy. If there's 100 books, me and my staff can go through them and do a quick book search on them. But if I have quite a few books, I'll bring him in, and he's gotten me and my clients much more money for the items that are there than I would have gotten, or I would have been there for weeks going through everything.
Yeah. And again, it's like everything else. I mean, you're not looking up a Danielle Steele book.
Yeah.
You're just not. I'm not. Nobody is on those. It's just like, could there be a rare Danielle Steele book? Sure. Good for whoever pulled that off and knew it was a $35 book. Good for them. They deserve it, because I'm not going to go through, because too many times, 3-cent book, 3-cent book.
Yeah. And so I had a client recently where the woman, it was a moving sale, so they're both still living. It was a woman, and she collected Barnes and Noble signed books. Okay. A lot of them were signed from the authors. Those aren't worth anything either, because they signed so many copies of them. Yep. There's like maybe a handful out of the 1,000 signed editions you could have of these different authors. Maybe a handful of them are worth more than $25, Yep. So.
Well, currently they're at Mr. Magazine. So as long as he has a warehouse, I'm good. Got this message from eBay today. You're in the top 5% for books, top performer alert. You've outperformed 98% of salaries in your category. Keep aiming high. Well, there you go. Congratulations, John. What are examples of sales where you would charge a client a much higher commission, like 40, 50%?
So each company is different. I have a certain threshold of dollar amount that I think is in the house if it's under that, I won't touch it. Just because it's not going to be worth. I mean, obviously I've done favors for friends and family, stuff like that. But I look for, from what I've heard, I look for a pretty high dollar amount to hold a sale. It's got to be worth it for me and my staff to come in there. It's got to be worth it for the family after the fees are done. I usually won't take sales if they're not going to be lucrative for the family.
Mm-hmm. That actually raises a question I was going to ask you. I understand every sale is different, and you have to abide by the wishes of the family. And, as you said about the Bob Dylan thing back there, if the family says price this at $100, you're going to price it at $100.
Yes.
And I've seen some sales, not of yours, of some of your competitors, where they have items priced and they're like, there is no discount. Well, actually, you had the shirts, as I remember. There was those rock and roll shirts.
Yes.
And that was obviously an agreement with the consignor that we're not going to discount that. It was just, whatever, it's his stuff. As long as there aren't, I'm assuming, too many such stipulations, yes, a few items or one little area, you'll take it just because you can make enough money elsewhere.
And that was a special collection, that set of concert shirts. And what didn't sell, we put into another sale, and we were able to discount them then.
Okay. Yep.
So, and that was kind of the plan all along.
Okay.
Keep them at full price for this sale. And then we'll follow up with the Christmas sale in December. And if they're still there, we'll put them in for a discounted price. We ended up selling every single shirt.
Oh, wow.
So the family's happy. I'm happy. And I know they're going to go to good homes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Music is my passion. So I got Bob over here and Jerry Garcia over here. I'm a huge music buff. So that was a special collection for me to take in. And I had fun going through it and researching them all and pricing them. it really depends on, like you said, I can make that money up elsewhere in a sale, but um, if a family is too crazy with what they want for something, I'll tell them to keep the item because I can't put something out that's going to be like 5 times retail. If I'm showing that it sells on eBay for $50 and they're like, well, my grandma told me this was worth 250, that's what I want for it. Well, you take it and sell it elsewhere, then I'll sell the rest of the stuff in the house.
Inside joke.
Most of my clients are great and don't do that. So
inside joke, one of your local competitors would still price it, and 5 times you're getting a deal. But that's you know who I'm talking about.
I don't know anything.
You don't know nothing. There is one of your local competitors who is extremely tough to deal with, and I'm talking about even an hour left in a sale, very little chance they'll work a deal out with you.
Yeah.
Not to get into their mindset or their psyche, but why would that be? And they turn the stuff back over to the family, from what I can see. Why wouldn't they want to just move everything out the door? Is there any reason that you can think of for that? I mean, I could understand if it was a situation where the family says whatever doesn't sell we want back. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But this was a case where they had a sale. They really were not moving stuff at the end. Somebody else I know actually went to the house after the sale, left a note on the door saying, hey, if you're who owns this house, give me a call. The owner of the house gave them a call. They bought some stuff, gave my number. I bought a bunch of stuff out of the house.
Oh, that's not the story I thought you were going to tell.
No,
okay,
no.
Sorry.
No.
Okay.
Yep. But, obviously the owner just wanted the stuff gone because, I filled up like 4 boxes and he said, I don't know, $20, get them out of here. But that local estate sale company wouldn't. They just don't deal. Is there a reason why, or did they not want their reputation of dealing?
It's not reputation. I think it's more of they don't want to get into the habit of letting people know that they're going to discount prices more. That would be my, my guess.
Yeah.
But from what you're saying, a lot of times if the family tells me I can't go less than 50% off at the end of the day on the last day, I can't go less than 50% off.
Understood. Understood. Yeah.
But most of the time, I let the families know. Listen, we do full price the first day, 50% off the second day. The later in the second day it goes, the more aggressive we get with our pricing. You can set limits on certain things, but you can't do it for everything in the house. Let us do our job. You'll be satisfied after. Nice. Look at the big picture. Don't look at individual items.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. That's great advice. Great advice. Is there a value limit on what you feel comfortable selling in an estate sale versus helping the client bring to auction? Like if you're staging a sale and come across a Mickey Mantle rookie.
Yes, definitely. So here's a good story. Good question, Michael. Here's a good story. I walked into a house probably 4 or 5 years ago now. And I looked over and on the table, I saw what I thought was a Tiffany lamp. Okay. So I get closer and I'm looking and I said, is this a Tiffany lamp? And they're like, oh yeah, that's not the original base, but that's the original shade. And yeah, we want to get rid of it. I'm like, I listen, you do not want to sell this through me. Wow. You do not want to sell this through me. Trust me. I'm not going to get you anywhere near what it's worth. So I gave them the name of the only local auction company that I felt was fit to deal with that item.
Yeah.
They called them. They got more for the lamp than they got for the house.
Wow.
Yeah, they got more for that lamp than they got for the house. The family was so thankful for me. The auction company was thankful, called me personally, thanked me for sending them, was like, not many estate sale companies would do what you just did. They probably would have, given a couple $1,000s for it and taken it themselves. But
wow.
I'm there to do a service for my clients.
Wow, that's insane. I mean, in a positive way. Wow.
So yes, there are, and I always tell the families, if I come across anything that when I'm going through the house that they have not identified as something amazing, then I will let them know and I will send it to auction, or I will let them send it to auction. I don't take a commission on the stuff that goes to auction.
Wow. How do you gently tell your client that the Beanie Babies, Rockwell plates, Avon bottles, etc., aren't actually worth the fortune they think that they're worth?
This is my tagline. Those items really aren't in demand anymore. Like they used to be. And well, I saw this Princess Diana Beanie Baby listed for $10,000 on eBay. Well, yeah, look at the sold comps. They're selling for like $3. So yeah, it's very, it's a fine line. And most of the time, the houses those items you listed are all in the same house. And I usually won't take those sales because it's all that mass produced stuff that those people, that generation or those people collected, that the house is full of it. And it's not going to sell, number one. And if it does, it's going to be minimal value. So there's just nothing there for me to be able to help them out with.
And it's funny you say that because I've actually done a couple of videos. To those of you who don't know, you can come back behind the paywall, and we have exclusive videos back there. And I actually did one. I don't know if you saw the sale or not. I'm assuming you look at the sales various competitors.
I do, yeah.
Did you see that sale about a month and a half ago over in Buffalo? I don't know if you looked that far over. A lot of really, really nice old magazines, Vogue and all that, like 1920s and 30s Vogue and all that stuff. Okay. Absolutely beautiful stuff. They were asking $65 on the Vogue and things like that. They were asking premium prices on the stuff.
Yeah.
I drove over there and spent $135 and did pretty well on that. But before I went over there, I actually brought the estatesales.net. And anybody who doesn't know that, that's really where you need to go to check the estate sales out. Although I know you also go on Craigslist. I think you put stuff up on.
I do Craigslist as well. I do targeted marketing on social media too. Facebook is a really good resource for advertising estate sales locally.
Yep. And so I actually brought up the estate sale thing, the listing of the one I was going to, and explained what I saw and why I was going there. And I brought a couple of other ones up. And it's funny you say that because one of the ones I believe I brought up had that kind of stuff. And I said, when they have the die-cast car, one of 10,000, and they've got a whole bunch of that kind of stuff, that's not an estate sale that I'm going to generally go to because it's going to have a lot of mass-produced stuff from the 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Yeah.
And then I brought up another one, or I've talked about other ones that I found that you've got. There's one, and I hate to be sexist, but I'm going to be sexist here for a moment. They had what we of our generation would call boy toys, as far as, the slot car racing and the baseball gloves and all those things, all from the 1960s and early 1970s. And I was able to look at it and I said, making some assumptions here, this was a male who was growing up in the 60s and early 70s, and they've got all these toys, and a lot of toys pictured. I said, I bet they have comic books. Sure enough, they had comic books. They're not enough to have pictured, but some. And I was able to pick some good comic books out of there just by making that assumption that that's what they have. Whereas that one with the 90s stuff, if they have comic books, they're going to be the 90 comics they're probably still printing. And you can make a lot of assumptions just by seeing some stuff out of the estate as far as that goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Few more questions and then we'll let you go. You've been very, 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 very good here. What's without getting too deep into, what's the worst customer experience that you've heard of? I mean, obviously calling the cops on people for pushing your staff is bad.
Yeah. Okay. This happened to one of my employees. We had sold a dresser, and there was, how some dressers have those hidden drawers at the top?
Yeah.
That jewelry drawers.
Yeah.
Well, when they were taking the drawers out, this jewelry drawer, there was like a little inside the top of the drawer, the top drawer, there was like a little button that if you hit it, the jewelry drawers popped out.
Okay.
So we didn't know the jewelry drawer was there. Nobody had told us. So, and you wouldn't have known it just by looking at the dresser. Jewelry drawer popped out. And when it did, there was some jewelry in there. It turned out to be nothing valuable at all. It was all just costume jewelry, but we didn't know at the time. So my employee was in there and was like, okay, folks, we're going to have to back up because people had started grabbing at it. And she's like, all right, folks, please put it down and back up. And she had started picking it up and this guy slapped her hand.
Oh,
and it's like, what? A male slapped one of my female employees' hands.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the most distraught one of my employees has ever been during a work day. And that was probably the maddest I've ever been at a customer.
Wow. I know you guys have, and all of the estate sales have up, which well, you should, the signs, we cannot help load, bring your own help to load. I will tell you, I was at one of your competitors, and I honestly don't remember which competitor. They do not do a lot of things, but they were older women running this. And when I say older, I'm talking 60s, maybe 70s running this thing. They were actually trying to help a customer carry a dresser downstairs. And I'm like, I'm going to help. And they're like, really? I go, yes, I'm going to help. I'm not letting two 70-year-old ladies carry a heavy dresser. The dresser was heavy, and I'm there trying to carry it going, what are these ladies trying to do? I mean, God bless them. They're trying to help their customer, but still.
We put the sign up that says, please bring help to load your own. I'm me and my staff has been known to help people carry stuff out. We're not, I always tell everybody, if we help you carry it and something happens to it, we're not liable because we have the sign on the door, but we will help you. Few months ago, I had a sale in a big warehouse. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we sold this enormous generator. I mean, this thing had to weigh 1,000 pounds.
Oh,
so guy paid for it, buys it. And I always put no refunds, no returns, no exceptions. Yep. This goes into like worst customers ever as well. So the guy goes, all right. After he paid, put it in the back of my car. I'll pull my car around. I'm like, are you out of your mind? This was in a warehouse, so you could pull in. It was all heavy machinery, vintage cars, boats, stuff like that. I'm like, dude, we cannot help you lift this. It's 1,000. Well, how am I going to get it into the back? I go, I had like two other people there with me and my mother who was running cash register. I'm like, how are we going to get it into your car? There's forklifts in this place. None of them work, but people were bringing their own like little pallet jacks in to get stuff out. It was on a pallet. This guy starts flipping out at us that we wouldn't load it into his car. I'm like, dude, for the amount you paid me for it, because I didn't know if it worked. I go, for the amount you paid me for it, I'm not going to risk my life and limb to get that into your car. It's on your own. And the way you're speaking to my staff right now is absolutely unacceptable. Wow. And it's just be nice. Listen.
Yeah.
So he's raising hell. How dare you? This is false advertising. I'm like, no, it's not false advertising. I put it in all my ads. Please bring your own help. And I put a sign right on the door. So
wow.
He definitely lost his mind. And that was the one exception, one of the only times I've made a refund just to get him out of our faces. And when he left the building, other customers started clapping that he was leaving because he was such a jerk.
Wow.
And it's like, dude, is it that important for you to, it wasn't that much money. I didn't charge him a lot for it.
Yeah.
And then about a month and a half after the sale, his buddy had called me. And his buddy had left me a message. And I knew his buddy from other sales. He had been to a few other sales of mine. And buddy left me a message. I didn't answer it right away and was like, hey, Greg, call me. We have a problem. So I called him right back. I was in a meeting. I called him like, hey, what's going on? He didn't answer. I'm like, what's going on? Call me back.
Yeah.
Didn't call me for another month. I'm like, all right, well, problem must be
solved. Yeah.
So he calls me about a month later. He's like, hey, Greg, it's me again. My buddy that bought that generator from you, that you never gave him his money back. I'm like, the hell I didn't give him his money back. So I had to pull up my Square app because we take Square for credit cards to show him. And I had to send him a screenshot where he paid for it. And then not even 2 minutes after that, I refunded him for it. So it's, stuff like that just drives me nuts. 2.5 months later, I'm still dealing with this jerk that isn't happy that he didn't get the generator. We wouldn't load it onto his car for him.
Wow. Now, I never did ask you, how long you been in business and how did you get into the business?
Okay, good question. So I have been in business. We're coming up on our 9th year in 2025.
Okay.
And if you move over to your right, you'll see, no, other right, sorry. Yeah. Established 2016. That's when we were established. So obviously 2026 is going to be our 10 year. I was working in the orthopedic industry for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Ever since I was a kid, I've had a passion for garage and estate sales. I
Yeah.
used to go to them in high school when my buddies were out drinking on a Saturday afternoon. I'd be out garage sailing, finding records and instruments and stuff that I could either keep for my own collection or flip on the side and make a few bucks. So I was in the orthopedic industry for 12 years, and I traveled quite a bit for it, and I was getting burned out. So I told my wife, I started it. I'm like, within 5 years, I'm going to be doing this full time. I want to,
Wow.
it's a
Yeah.
passion of mine.
Yeah.
And within 8 months, we were so busy. I was getting so many calls that I was able to quit my job in 8 months of starting this business.
Wow.
It was definitely a leap of faith, but I'm so glad I did it. And I without my wife's support, I wouldn't be where I am today. Without my team, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'm very, very lucky.
And without
Doing
your
what I love.
super customer, you wouldn't be where you are today.
Yeah, yes, correct. My customers as well. Yes, of course. Of course.
No, that's I think one thing I will say this, and I only know this because I've talked to a couple of other of our subscribers who were behind the wall, and they took a look, and because I brought up when I went to that Buffalo sale, I brought up estatesales.net,
Yeah.
and they were saying, wow, we might have 3 sales in a good weekend, and within we have a abundance of sales here. And if you brought the estatesales.net to include Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester,
Yeah.
an insane number. I mean, in any given week, we must have 6, 7 sales.
Syracuse doesn't do that many.
They don't.
Which is weird. Yeah. Well, at least I haven't looked in a long, long time. We did a sale out in Syracuse for a client of mine who I used to do appraisals in town here for her. She lives here. Her relative's house was out there. And so she wanted us to do the sale out there. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll do anything once.
Yeah.
So many people that came to that sale are like, you need to do more sales out here. We barely have them out here.
Oh, wow.
This was probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We haven't done a sale there since. It was a lot of travel.
Yes.
But it was a good sale. It was definitely a good sale.
Yeah, I think we are definitely spoiled up here. Yeah. And I think another thing that helps you, I mean, I can think off the top of my head 4 or 5 estate sale dealers that are regulars, and then a few others that will have a sale here or there. So you're probably talking 10, 12 sales people, around here, at least. I think one thing that really works in your favor and all of our favor is that there really aren't any auctions around here to speak of.
Yes.
So the things go to estate sale instead of auction.
Especially post-COVID, there's barely any live auctions anymore. And when there are, they're out in like the country. So I'm seeing Jeff's comment.
Jeff lives in Syracuse, so I guess he would know.
Again, like I said, Jeff, I haven't checked in a while. But when we did the sale there about 4 or 5 years ago, I mean, I was following estatesales.net then, and there was like barely any at the time. And everybody was like, you need to come out here. So again, I'm not positive what it's like today out there, but I know when I was there a few years ago, at least that's what they told me. And from what I was seeing, it wasn't, but
you've got a fan there. You're going to be doing your own YouTube channel sometime soon.
Oh, I don't know about that. This is I'm sweating over here. I don't know if you can see that.
Only a few more questions. I'll let you go.
Trust me, I've been nervous all day, but this is going very well.
It's good to hear. That's good to hear. We were talking slightly before the show, and I've talked to one of your competitors, and he said the same thing. Signs come up missing. We were talking. What is going on? I mean, I've got a whole garage full of your signs, but that's
yeah. Hey,
I'll throw them back to you. We'll work it out.
I'll that can be your payment for me being on the show. You can give me my signs back. I'm just kidding. So there's certain towns where signs go missing a lot.
Okay,
and then. So I live in the town I live in the village of the town I live in, they apparently don't let signs out, but every other weekend there's a garage sale sign that they don't take, but yet my signs they take. So I've actually caught them taking my signs down.
Really?
Yeah, and the sale I caught them at was the street I grew up on, and I was doing a sale for like my adopted sister on that street. We've known each other since we were babies, and her adopted uncle. Long story. Anyway, they were taking the signs down, so I followed their car to like this parking lot, and I'm like, why are you guys taking my well, we don't allow signs up. I'm like, but there's 20 estate sale signs up. Why are you taking my sign or garage sale signs up? Why are you taking my signs? And he's like, because you're a business, you're not allowed to have signs on the midway. You have to knock on the people's doors and put them in their lawn. Well, if you're not on that easement there, nobody's going to see an estate sale sign past an easement, past the sidewalk in somebody's yard. They're going to think it's at that house.
Yeah, right.
So I actually called the homeowner and I'm like, listen, they're taking my signs. You need to call the town and tell them to stop and let you keep them up. Weird thing, they only took them. So this neighborhood like went out to 2 main roads. They only took them from one side. They didn't take them from the other side. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to cut my losses. I got all my signs back. But I have had, I won't name names, but I have had customers saw a competitor taking my sales one time. And it was weird because my signs were replaced with their signs, but their sale was like 5 miles away. So I don't know why they were bringing people in from 5 miles away. And when I called them to demand my signs back, they lied and said, but there were multiple people that told me they saw that person take my signs.
Wow.
So, and then I think property owners don't realize that 3-foot easement is not owned by them.
Right.
That I can put signs there. I found we were doing one off of Ridge Road out in Brockport, Parma area.
Yeah.
And I found one of my signs taken off of Ridge Road and put in the business's dumpster. Because I'm like, it was a little like country store that was like, you know, no other houses or businesses around it. And I'm like, the only person that could have taken this sign was this place. So I looked in their dumpster, and sure enough, it was in their dumpster. It's tough to say who's taking them.
Right. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Jeff's asking if you had a general idea where the sale was in Syracuse, because he probably went to it.
Oh, gosh.
All the sales.
I mean, I can look it up real quick if you give me a second. I can tell you the street it was on.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Couple of other things. I know I've been at sales before where you've actually gotten in trouble. One I remember out in Webster, where the cops were coming there because of parking issues, because people don't seem to understand you're not supposed to park on both sides of the road. And I know you and every competitor, everybody has the signs, has the things, please park on one side of the road.
Yes. And I've actually had signs made that say estate sale parking, estate sale no parking. And I really only put those up when the road is really narrow, or in that one certain town we were discussing earlier, because I know if somebody calls the fire marshal, I'm going to get screwed. So that sale in Syracuse, Jeff, was on Cleveland Street, Cleveland Road.
Cleveland Road. All right.
13215 was the zip code.
We'll see if he remembers that or not. Reality TV show idea, estate sale sign wars.
So I really do think an estate sale reality TV show would be great. Just because it's almost like Storage Wars, except it's in a whole house. You never know what you're going to find as you're unpacking. And the characters that come to the sales are just, some of the best people you could ever want for a TV show.
I've heard you've got a big internet star going to there too.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
There you go. I had to point at myself a couple times. You remember?
I'm expecting, from being on your show, I'm expecting at least a 20% uptick in attendance at my sales.
Easy. At least. Tell them Paper Guy sent you. What was the most disgusting, dirtiest, nastiest situation that you got into? I'm sure you got into moldy basements and all that fun
Of
stuff.
course, yeah, definitely.
Anything step out? I'll tell you, because
Oh yeah, there's a lot that stick out.
I'll tell you a quick story. I was talking with Mr. Byes a lot, and he was saying that he was at an estate sale, and I don't know what time, I think it was in Pennsylvania for what he was saying. And there were a bunch of good stuff up in the attic, and he got to the sale a little late, and the attic was all blocked off. And he said, "What's going on? Good stuff's up in the attic." Apparently, so many people were up in the attic that the floors started caving down into the bedroom, so they had to get everybody out of the attic now.
Oh, wow.
Kind of deal, one of those kind of things. So that's a little bit
had
dangerous.
like barns with attics in it that we've limited the amount of people up there for the same concerns. But the grossest, you find dead animals in houses, you find rodent droppings, you find hoarder houses.
Hey, I haven't given you my estate yet.
Listen, no, you're not the only one, trust me. So yeah, there's quite a bit of disgustingness you walk into. I'm trying not to subject my staff to that anymore.
Right.
Because they've been through a lot with me through thick and thin. So I'm trying not to, unless it's really good, I'm probably not gonna, take a sale that's like that anymore.
Now, have you found anything like prosthetic limbs, anything at all like that?
Oh yeah, glass eyes, a lot of dentures, we found an old wooden prosthetic limb, post Civil War era, but pretty close to that era.
Yeah. Wow.
You name it, we found it.
Wow.
We've found pretty much everything. Nothing surprises me anymore at this point.
Wow. Now, one of your competitors, I gave this idea to and was basically told, we don't have time for that. And it sounds like you almost do this kind of thing. And to some extent, you've got your little Rolodex there with people. What I suggested to this competitor of yours was, look, what I buy. Reach out special to me twice, 3 times a year if it's a sale that I absolutely need to go to. In other words, I buy books, that kind of stuff.
So you're not asking to sell ahead of time to you?
No. No.
Okay.
I would not expect that by any means whatsoever. But I would expect that, or I would hope, I don't expect, but I would hope that if suddenly you got, I don't know, the town of Sweden's library hired you to handle the decommissioning of 50,000 books, that you would reach out to me and say, Dave, you make sure, I'm sure you saw it, but you make sure you come to this sale. You don't have to come to my sale in Pittsburgh next week. That's the little lady that's moving who's got a lot of, sewing wear. I'm not going to bother you with that one. I'm bothering you for this one, that kind of deal.
So I am in the process of something to help with that.
Okay, good.
I'm not going to say exactly what right this minute, but I am in the process of creating
a database of some sort.
Yes, exactly. Where when I have a sale like that, an email will automatically go out to those people. I kind of rely right this minute. Everybody's like, hey, if you ever find a 1932 Sports Illustrated, I know they didn't make them.
No, I know what you're saying.
But it's impossible for me to remember specific items like that for everybody. Occasionally I will, because I have a weird mind like that where, oh shit, sorry, pardon my language. I managed to not swear at all until right now. I apologize. If you know me, I swear like a sailor. So I think I've done pretty well so far.
So does Mrs. Paperguy. So I'm used to it.
All right.
You've seen her.
Occasionally I can remember if somebody's looking for something specific, but ephemera. So you're interested in ephemera.
Yeah.
I'm going to have an ephemera section where, okay, this is an ephemera sale. This email goes out to you.
Perfect.
Music memorabilia. This goes to you.
Yeah.
Glassware, art glass. This goes to you. Mid-century modern. This goes to them. I'm in the process of that. Personally, myself, I'm not good at setting stuff up like that. I'm working with someone now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very bigger than I thought it was going to be process.
Okay.
It's, and then I have to collect. I have data now. I have a mailing list now.
Yeah.
But it's a very broad mailing list. But I am in the process of creating something like that. It is a lot of work. So I know when they say I don't have time, I had to hire somebody to do it because I thought it was a simple click of a button, but it's not.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good to know. Because again, when they said that, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but obviously I don't want to know about the local sale that's got 12 cookbooks. That's not what I want to know about.
Exactly.
But I want to know, you're into some place like you had that house out in Pittsford that when you first walked in, you turned to the left, it was the whole library.
Yeah.
That was a nice sale with a lot of nice books in it and a lot of nice old paper in it. That sale I'd like to be told about. Some sale that you have that, it's got boat parts. I don't care. The one you were talking about with the generator, I don't care.
Yes, exactly.
I don't want to go to that sale, even if they had 2 brochures. I don't care. Type deal. So, but no, I think that's a really good idea that you've got over there as well.
Yeah. I can't take credit for it. My unofficial business manager gave me the idea. So,
and I gave that unofficial business manager the idea.
Perfect. It's been in the works for a while now. It's a lot more, not labor intensive, a lot more, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but a lot more in depth than I thought it was going to be.
Right. And a couple of last couple of questions. So I've got an estate to sell. I'm assuming now, and I'm sure it works every different way, but how many times are you the only person, or is there a lot of times they call 4 or 5 people? Now you're saying that you look through and you want a certain dollar amount. If you don't see the dollar amount, then do you say, hey, so-and-so might be interested? Because I think you all know what each other deals with.
I have a couple companies that I refer exclusively, just because I know them and I know the job they will do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'll say.
Understood. No. And no, that's very helpful. And I think everybody out there really enjoys everything that you brought us here. So basically, again, any tips? I look online and I see you've got these items here that, I'm really interested in. Now, I guess other parts of the country, people don't necessarily line up. What's the earliest anybody has lined up for a sale of yours?
So all of my sales, I don't list the address until 24 hours prior.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had people show up. If I post that address at 9:00, I've had people be there by 9:30.
Really?
They will spend not every sale by
no,
any
obviously no, but really,
some sales we have hundreds of people waiting to get in. Other sales we have 2 people waiting to get in.
Wow.
It really depends on what it is and what's in the house. Yeah.
Wow. I can't. Wow. And how do you handle, because I know there's always people there's always arguments and fights and things like that, as far as only our list is the only one that counts, but then all the people kind of work their own thing out so everybody knows who was there first.
I don't do lists. I had tried the sign up list on the door before. Like Buffalo does lists.
Yeah.
Where they put the sheet on the front door days in advance.
Oh, wow.
I tried that a couple times because people were asking me to. And I literally had that list ripped off, a new one put up with that person's name first. So
I think I know who did it.
I'm not going to name. And they.
Well, I would at least put my name second.
That's what I was thinking.
Seymour Butts, is he here? Nope. Oh, then Dave. Okay.
Oh, Dave, you're next. Yeah. Dave, it was actually you we're talking about right now. So
bad connection. I gotta go.
So we do the number system. Okay.
Right.
The first person there, we hand out permanent numbers an hour before we open the doors. We usually open the doors at 9 a.m. We hand out permanent numbers at 8 a.m. Whoever gets there first, if somebody shows up at 6 a.m. in the morning and they're the first one to get there, they're going to hand out what they call temporary numbers,
which they do themselves.
They do that themselves. So they'll have like a Post-it pad, and they'll
Okay.
number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah.
7, and they'll hand them out. They'll keep number 1 for themselves. They'll hand them out. And then at 8 o'clock, you swap those numbers for the permanent number. Once you get a temporary number, you are supposed to remain on site until permanent numbers are there.
Right.
I have had people before where number 1 is there and they are a stickler about that. And if that person leaves for an hour to go get, lunch or
Coffee.
dinner or whatever, they lose their number and everybody moves up a number and everybody behind
Really?
them. Yeah. There's been fights about that before.
Oh.
So it's really, really tough.
Now, do they and I realize it's all depends on who number 1 is, but do they let you sit in your car? Is that considered?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're going to be,
Okay.
you're not going to sit, especially in the winter here, you're not going to sit outside in front of the house. You can stay in your car.
That frozen guy over there is number 2.
But number 1, depending on who number 1 is, they will watch your car to make sure you don't leave that car.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and then
crazy.
I always tell them that I don't get involved in personal, stuff.
The pre-numbering. When I get here at 8 o'clock, I'm handing the numbers out.
I'm handing out those numbers.
Yep.
If you guys have an idiot, not an idiot, sorry. If you're an idiot and you left, that's your own thing. I'm not going to stick up for you. It's whatever you guys, whoever hands me the temporary number that says number 5 is getting my permanent number 5.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know all that went on, because that's one of the positives of having a niche like me. I can go the middle of the second day and buy stuff.
Yep, exactly.
I don't have to be first in line for stuff like that. So I look online for your auction.
Yep.
And I see you've got some really, really good stuff. And I was talking to one of your competitors, and they said the thing that bothers them is it gets creepy. Sometimes you'll see people up there looking in through the window, trying to look through, and you're like, okay,
all the time,
trying to pull the blinds on them and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah.
What's the best? Now, they said the best advice they had is I go out 15, 20 minutes before, ask me where the item is. I'll tell you, because I want it sold. Yep. So if you're looking for the bedpan, I'm going to say it's the upstairs back bedroom. I mean, why am I going to hide it from you? I want it sold.
Yeah, usually when I'm handing permanent numbers out is when people will pull me aside and either show me the picture from the website or ask me where a certain item is. I'm glad to help them out and tell them.
Yeah, because bottom line, you want to make the sale. It's not
and I personally will not give out pricing prior to the sale.
Okay.
Number 1, there's too many items in a house for me to remember. Yeah. And unless I'm in that house at that time, I get a phone call or a text or an email, I can't answer the question anyway, because I can't remember what's priced what. Also in the past, I had a really nice John Deere riding mower.
Okay.
I mean, this thing was like mint. The guy paid like $7,500 for it. He wanted $4,800 for it, but I had priced it a few days before we discussed a price at like $2,500.
Okay.
So somebody called. I said it's $2,500. That guy was number 1 in line, and he was really upset with me when I had it priced $4,800, and he left me a negative review.
Okay.
I'm like, listen, the family you told me, and I'm like, so that minute I stopped giving out prices over the phone. And if you're a regular and you're texting me, I'll say, I believe it's this, but don't quote me on it if it's going to be more or less. It could be less.
Yeah.
But I will not, if you just send me an email or a text and I don't know who you are, I won't answer it. I get upwards of 50 emails per sale asking about certain items. If I responded to all those emails, I wouldn't have time to be in the house doing the work.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize.
Yeah. Wow. For bigger sales, I probably get upwards of 100, 150 emails.
Wow.
For my higher end sales.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. No, that's great. How many's the most people you've had go to a sale? I mean, obviously you don't know, because it's not like you count them when they come in, but roughly, have you had sales that been filled all the way through?
Yes. Days? Most of our sales are pretty filled all the way through. I would say probably upwards of 5,000 at our biggest sale ever. That was earlier this year in January. We rented that storefront out in Panorama where you bought all the
Yeah.
postcards.
Yeah.
We had a sale from a collection of a friend of mine who passed. And I mean, it was the third or fourth part of her estate where we couldn't hold it at her residence because it just wouldn't hold everything.
Right.
And it was the biggest money sale I've ever had and best attended sale I ever had.
Wow.
And we could, in that location, we could take that many people, you know.
Yes, for anybody that hasn't been there before, which it's a storefront. What did that used to be? Any idea what
it used to be? A Blockbuster, and then it was a Sears home store.
Okay.
The most recently it was a Sears home store. It's 6,300 square feet. We've had it for about a year now. We've had 5 sales there, and each sale has been amazing there. I'm very, very grateful for that space.
And it's still got some of the original. Well, I don't know about original, but it's got the shelving and all that stuff.
Yeah, so everything, not everything, but the majority of the displays in there were from Sears.
Yep.
And the landlord was gonna clear it out for me and give me a clean slate. And I'm like, no, keep them. I'll use them. Keep them, please. If I don't make you clear them out, will you give me a better deal? So yeah.
Well, I'll work my way around that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That is awesome. I don't think there's any other questions I had here. I will tell you the worst sale of yours I ever went to.
Yeah.
But not because of any other reason than parking. It was the sale that you had on that little tiny side street off of St. Paul over by the school. And let me tell everybody about this sale.
Oh, Dave, would you like me to play a voicemail that I got from that sale?
Yes, I would. All right. Well, he's talking.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
I have saved this voicemail because it makes me laugh. Let me find it. Hang on.
Exclusive. So basically, this is a main road which has no parking on it. There was a little spur of a.
There may be 10 houses on the whole.
Yep,
on the
which
whole
you
road.
couldn't really park down that.
No.
So you could park over on another main road, or you could park up another little side street. But even to cross the street, if to cross it properly, you had to cross to get there. So you had to do 3 crosses to get there, or you could take your life in your hand and try to run across.
And that intersection's a pretty busy intersection.
Yes, it is. That was a bad situation. That's great. I love this.
So let me see if I don't know where my I know I'm horrible with technology, but hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Street, which is a cul-de-sac, where your company is facilitating an estate sale. And I want to tell you, this is one of the most crazy, chaotic things I've ever seen. You have your hungry, vulture, junk-seeking people clogging up our street and making it incredibly unsafe. And they have no regard and no respect for the fact that maybe the house that they're all descending upon, the people are dead, but the rest of us are quite alive and quite needing to be on our street. I've never, ever experienced anything quite as terrible as this. And I have to say, your company sucks at controlling these people. And I would appreciate it if this never happened again. And someone gave me a call back to explain to me and apologize for the terrible inconvenience that this has created for the past 24 hours.
Wow.
First off, 24 hours. We were only open for 6 hours that day.
Wow.
So 24 hours. I mean, how sad of a person are you? Come and talk to me. I'm a very reasonable person. So I called her back. And
that's classic.
She was the rudest. I'm sorry. You had someone who passed away, and you're trying to help this family with their grief and finding new homes for their parents' treasured possessions.
Yeah.
And you're calling me to harass me because you're very much alive and inconvenienced by a few cars on your street.
Yeah. And literally, I mean, like you said, you couldn't put more.
Yeah. So me and that lady had it out. She was, we had it out. It was so, I was appalled with how, and she expected me to apologize for hosting a sale for my client. I was appalled by it, but that I've kept that. That was this year, Dave, and it was
Wow.
on April 6th. So yeah, I've kept that voicemail. I get rid of my voicemails pretty quickly.
No, that's a saver. That's definitely a saver.
Definitely.
Wow. Well, as one of the junk vultures that descended upon the house. All righty, real quick, we do one last little thing here. The rambling story of the week. I'll make it short because Greg has been very, very nice with his time there. It's going to be a very, very short rambling story this week. I was actually at the airport, went down to Nashville, Tennessee. And while there, flying back home, there was a gentleman in the airport. I'm going to guess 35, 40 years old. And he had 2 kids with him. I'm going to guess 4 and 6, something or other like that. And one of the kids, opened something or other, had some trash. And he said to the kid, well, find a garbage can. And the kid gets up and walks to the center concourse and looks around and couldn't find one and came back. And he says, well, then go up to the counter and ask her. She'll be able to help you. And this kid's 5 years old. Kid got up and walked and didn't find it and came back, which is fine. And I said to the father, I said, excuse me, this is none of my business, but I want to compliment you. I said, you're raising your kids to have independence, and I absolutely salute you for that. It's absolutely the right thing to do. And he was like, well, thank you. Thank you very much. I really needed to hear that. And he was very, very happy to hear that. So that was the rambling story of the week.
Love that.
Yep. And do you have anything to promote, Greg?
No, I just, we were just announced today we were just announced the platinum first place winner of Antique Dealers in Rochester. So that's a huge honor. Thank you to everybody who voted for us and all that.
That is awesome. That is awesome to hear as well. And I definitely do want to thank you. This went a little longer than I thought, but it was a lot of fun. Want to thank everybody for coming on out. Stop on by tomorrow. Whatnot, 4 p.m. We got some great books tomorrow. 20 past the hour, we have a Cornfucius joke of the day. Well worth coming on out for. If everybody could thank my guest as well. And if you are ever in the Rochester area, I'm sure he probably has a sale going on. So definitely do check that out. Saturday, there is also at 1 p.m. You're going to find a Whatnot postcard sale. So stop on by for that as well. A great postcard train all day long. Lots of sellers, 9 or 10 sellers each day, Saturday and Sunday. So stop on by for that. Want to thank you all for coming on out today. Hit the like button if you could. A lot of fun. Do thank our guest. And yeah, great information. That was an all-time classic voicemail for certain. Thanks a lot for coming on out. And if anybody does have any other questions, maybe we'll have him on again if he's willing, because we definitely enjoyed having him. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dave.
All right, let me end the stream here.